All right, good morning. Hello. Oh, I watched one person watching leave right when I said hello. It's like, yeah, this isn't for me. That's awesome. All right, so a few minutes to the market open. Looks like we got NASDAQ down about 1%. Let's take a look around some of the ones we were looking at yesterday. Obviously, we can take a look at our buddy Tesla and get after hours action back on here. So down to 1482. I know we were looking, AMD did not have a good day yesterday. UAL had a good day yesterday, coming down a little bit this morning. Win closed up pretty nice yesterday. Not bad this morning. AMD's been kind of garbage. Still remains kind of garbage. Oh, looks like the close wasn't bad on the daily time frame. All right, so this point in time, we're still trying to figure out, still trying to figure out what's going on with the market. Hey, what's up, Rob? So we had the big tumble down day. I think that was Monday, right? Because today's Thursday. Let me double check. Yep. So big tumble down day was on Monday. Had the ultimate reversal day on Tuesday. Wednesday was kind of a nothing burger with some pointed movers. And we'll see what today brings. So far, can't say much. Not much is out of the ordinary. Not much is going to change until we break this range from these strangle candles. Not that that's not a technical thing. You just got the extreme at the high, the extreme at the low, and we'll see what happens in between there. No, we're back on Tesla again. Did we ever leave Tesla? Close at 1546. We mentioned 1550 yesterday was the resistance point, and we didn't quite get there. I think we did for a split second. We closed just beneath it. Just beneath it. And the range was getting pretty tight, and we're back right back down to about the low of yesterday. And we'll see what happens. Looks like market's going to open in about a minute. We'll see how it goes here. So still haven't re-entered Tesla. Just kind of biding my time with this interesting market action. If we can float nicely around here, then I think we'll be good to go for further upside. Let's go check out what our buddies Investors Business Daily and CNBC have to say about the matter. No, I don't want to go up there, buddy. Well, all right there, I think. Okay. Yeah, it's pulling back today pretty good. So if you missed an entry yesterday and you really, really, really wanted it, you can grab a little bit today. All right, we'll go back to the market since it just opened. And not super green at all. Quite a bit of red, down about 1% on the index itself. The Nasdaq, FUI down another 5, NIO down another 8, Tesla down 5, but that's still kind of intraday to yesterday. Nothing too crazy. It's still above the 10-day moving average, so I mean that's really nothing too bad. Not bad at all. 0.87 right now. Oaktonet match Peloton. So all of our guys are All of our guys are lower. Everything's pretty much lower. Roku just popped slightly positive. Myrna's up here. Everyone's all over Myrna because of their, I guess they're one of the top 20 biotech companies now, due to market cap at least. Look at that, eightfold in about a year. Even before Rona, they were doing pretty good. All right, 0.87 for the Nasdaq, trying to come back. And NCLH, which was, I believe, up 20% yesterday, today coming back down significantly. Could be an entry point if you were interested in this name. Um, I mean, the market technically still in an uptrend, so nothing wrong with buying some of these situations, I don't think, especially, if they could have the potential to come back. I don't like the fact they gap down, but gives you an opportunity. Probably could take a smaller position size, but still valid. Let's look at some other airlines. American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, all have very similar patterns. Alaskan Airlines. Um, what's British Airlines? Are they even traded? British Airways. And they're not on here, I don't think. Trying to think of another airline that I know. There's Air Lease. A-L. Yeah, Air Lease. There you go. So Air Lease. Eh. My cat Ruby's across the street. Hi, Ruby. Expanding your territory? Beating the crap out of some old crappy cats? Good job, Ruby. Go beat up cats. All right. 1.1, not a whole lot has changed in the session. Still just biding my time here. That big red day, reversal day, did scare me a little bit, so I'm just kind of chilling out up here for now. One thing about when we had that big red day on Monday, hey, what's up, Ellie? One of the things is that it was getting hard to find trades. That can sometimes be a signal that, hey, this thing's a little bit overheated, is when you're really having a hard time finding trades. You're like, yeah, too high, too high, too high, too high, like everything. It's either too high or dead. Very few things are in a good spot, and things that were struggling. AMD, Roku, well, not Roku anymore, but Restoration Hardware. All the ones looking good were struggling, and then all the ones that looked good before were already super gone, and everything else was just in the dumps. So kind of hard to get. There's win. Kind of hard to get super excited this week about stocks generally, except for Monday morning. Monday morning was a good morning. Actually, yeah. What the heck just happened there? Yeah, space was top of my list too, at about 4%. Oh yeah, look at that. It's coming up to our range for this consolidation. So I could lower it a little bit. That's not look actually that's looking not bad. I don't want to enter right here, but definitely a little bit better. Still the bobbles in here as well. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh no. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So there's Monday. Yeah, so it did something similar. Thursday, prior week, was a pretty good day. That was a pretty good day. Oh, reminder, guys, won't have shows next week. Maybe Friday. We're going on vacation. We're gonna do isolation vacation far away, far away from the city. So at least get out of the heat for a week, few days, 5 days, something like that. Yeah, Space past couple of days, you can see the volume just went away. They're like, yeah, let's buy Space. Okay, never mind. We're not going to do this anymore. Thanks for that day. The coast, I'm assuming you mean coast. Yeah. Now we already got it. We booked a cabin up north. We didn't want to go super far and spend a ton of money. It's all good. All right, looks like Tesla's getting perky. Let's go take a peek. That's not horrible volume. We're still holding the lows generally of this whole move. Right there. That's about your low for right now. It's 1445. That's been your low for this one. You got an after hours peak, an after hours peak, and earlier in the day sell off right there. We mentioned 1550 if you remove aftermarket fluctuations. Right about there was our resistance. We also mentioned last time on Tesla, we actually came up and retested the high on lower volume. And then we started to sell off. Then Corona hit after that. So I can't say action like this is unexpected. You know, Tesla's still a very in demand company, so there's institutions that are going to be buying all the time on this thing. If I don't know, when you get a big topping candle like that and things are going the way they are. I was thinking about it last night. I'm like, yeah, just once you get a big topping candle, if you do look at valuations, I'm not a massive valuation person, but if you actually look at the valuations, I mean, they are pretty lofty. So it makes sense that we would consolidate such a large run, for a period of time to let things catch up a little bit. Market does front run almost everything, at least it tries to. I think it makes a lot of sense that we just kind of hang out up here for a bit. Like I said, probably between the 1,000 range and whatever, 1,800. If we were trying to do that over here, we came back down to 6. When did the market start selling on Rona? The 20th of February. So there's February, March. It's hard to say. It looks like it may have sold off, may have all been a Rona sell-off. All right, there's the 20th. So it actually kind of was a Rona sell-off most of the time. Yeah, that's the first day of the sell-off. Space is going for it. Well, Tesla's kind of going for it. Yeah, they're up a couple percent. RH up 1.5, so finally trying to get going. Probably won't meet my options target, but it's going to make someone some money. .85 for the NASDAQ. Tesla fill in the range of the day. And yeah, Research and Hardware trying to get up. Space going up 7. Good volume this morning on Space. I like to see that. I like that kind of volume action. Didn't do a lot of good over here, but leads us to some great ones. Voxel. Well, it's already up super high, so that's a negative. Interesting. I mean, you got the school year coming up. Maybe they got some good contracts or something. Distance learning would be my assumption. That's generally what kind of moves these days is distance everything. It used to be 3D printing, then it was blockchain, then it was MJ, and now it's distance. So That'd be awesome if we could find a company that's rolled with these themes and just kept changing their business model. So, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, they're like, we're switching to self-driving, guys. Yep, I know we were doing MJ for a while there, but self-driving is really the future. We're going to focus on that. Our team's 100% committed, and yep, we're doing self-driving, going all in. And then, a month ago, they're like, you know what, guys, distance learning is the future. Everyone is looking to, learn at a distance. The coronavirus is really teaching us some good lessons. And, we're really committed to this venture. Everyone at the company is really excited to be doing distance learning. We're going to refocus our efforts on 100% on this distance learning efforts. We have a lot to learn from the automated driving experience, and it's going to give us a tremendous amount of, um, leap forward in our venture here. That's pretty good. That's a that's a comedy skit only traders can understand. It's pretty good. There's a couple companies during the whole blockchain boom that completely switched business models. Like they actually did that. I was like, wow, these guys are serious about this. All right, Voxel going back up towards the high. Good volume this morning. Really good. I mean, look at this thing already. It's on the Nasdaq, so that's good. It's not on a garbage exchange. 9% now for space. There's that volume kicking in. Are you gonna rally? 1% for the Nasdaq, so definitely diverging here. Let's go check out the global watch list. TZA, 3 times inverse ETF. So if the Russell 2000 goes down, this thing goes up, but 3 times. Oh, Spotify looks like it's whatever. VMware, RealPage. There's RH going. Of course. Of course you're gonna go now, Restoration Hardware. Lumber Liquidators actually looking pretty stable considering things. Tuesday it took off. What happened on Tuesday? It doesn't look like there was an earnings report. Rising lumber prices. That doesn't make any sense. They buy lumber from liquidators. Okay, maybe it does make sense. If they actually even do that. I'm not sure how they acquire their lumber for their liquidations. PKG long-term turnaround play is still underneath Take-Two Interactive, trying to get Froggy out of its long-term turnaround play. Ruger, it's like Obama's coming back into office. Stitch Fix, seen actually a lot of commercials for these guys lately. I was wondering if they were kind of getting back into the fray here. They were big for a while. You can see back in 2018, I guess for just about a year, and then they started declining there. Old Dominion Freight Lines, people still need trains, so this one's at an all-time high. I wonder when those autonomous semi-trucks come out. Come on, Tesla. Get your damn batteries done already. I want to see some freaking badass semi-trucks rolling around. In fleets, just fleets of semi-trucks flying past you at exactly the speed limit. Driving for 24 hours. And talk about lowering the cost of things. Think about how big a waste is. If your semi truck is fully autonomous or even semi-autonomous, maybe they'll let up on. Maybe you can like sleep in your semi truck or something. I don't know. They'll probably still have the. If you guys don't know, semi truck drivers have to rest after 8 hours. I think it's for. I don't know all the rules, but I think it's like 2 hours after 8 hours or something like that. They have to rest. And obviously they have to sleep at some point. So you essentially have half the day where these trucks are just stagnant, which is a pretty big waste of capital. And then if you have fully autonomous semi-truck driving that's proven, it's going to take several years of on-road performance would be my assumption for them to lift this restriction. That would be pretty cool. 11 drive time and 14 total time on the clock per day. Yeah, so yeah, about half the time wasted. That truck's sitting there for 12 hours, 13 hours. Yeah, that's a waste of capital. So, I mean, they could have two drivers, but then you're paying two drivers. I guess that'd be better use of the truck. But then, the truck's always moving, probably hard to sleep and stuff like that. Anyway, interesting to see what they do. Maybe Tesla has a cabin with like a kick-ass bed or something. 36 hours off after 8 days on or something. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, like I said, don't know all the rules, but when you think of it from a business perspective, dude, if you can have, think about this. If they could have fleets of semi trucks, just take the leg from Phoenix to California as an example. I mean, unless you have a stop in between Los Angeles and Phoenix, um, there's really nothing to do. So if you could have a semi-autonomous truck, say you have a trucking business, you could have drivers drive it from Phoenix out to like Goodyear, which is about 20, 25 miles out of town. Still relatively populous, but not that far away. And then that driver can come back and drive another load out, but that maybe that truck can continue autonomously until, you know, part of the way into California. That's going to save like 6 hours of human drive time. I think that would be pretty cool if they could do that. That's right, Ellie. I'm going to start my trucking business. I'm just going to trade from the passenger seat while I watch Siri drive my truck. Oh God, imagine Siri as a driver. Ooh, yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, so Apple's autonomous car, they better not call it Siri. Oh, ooh, yeah, that doesn't put a good feeling in your mouth. Ew. Yeah. I don't want Siri driving me around. Hey Siri. Yeah, Dave. Ugh. My name's Randy, damn it. Oh, sorry, Steve. Me? Hell yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be honest with you, it's a little boring working from home, and it's a little boring doing what I do. I'm a little bored generally. What's up, B-dubs? Yeah, to be honest, I often fantasize about having a real job a couple days a week. Honestly, I really do. I just did it, you get used to doing something for so long. You're like, yeah, I kind of miss some stuff about that. There you go. How's it feel? How's it feel? The shoe on the other foot, Ellie. How's it feel? Oh, so you moved houses, now you need to renovate? Hey, what's up, Andrew? You're supposed to be in bed. It's past your bedtime, man. The street lights are on. Is that a thing over there? I don't know. I'm not far off. Try drugs as your answer for everything. I love it. But yeah, I seriously, I do not want Siri driving me around. Okay, that's gonna go on my comical. I've got a thing called comical stylings of people, which is just a note about funny stuff that I think about. That's gonna go on there. Siri being yourself, Siri being self-driving. So Siri being your self-driver assistant, self-driving. She doesn't understand anything you say because she doesn't. She doesn't know where things are. Oh God, this could go in so many directions. And she takes you to the wrong place. That's Siri for you. All right, cool. Have a temporary living arrangement with my in-laws who live 2 minutes around the corner from our new place. Oh, wow. What, Ellie? You wrote white straight dude? Did I miss something? I think I was typing and I missed something there. Yeah, renovations are a little stressful, B-dubs. Just hope your wife's cool with it. My wife's cool with it for like a couple of months, but then she freaks out. So, I'm like, you want me to finish a project? Insane. What is a bull trap? Okay. So, a bull trap. Well, actually, here's a prime example of a bull trap right there. It's where the market looks super, super bullish, and then tricks people into buying, and then they dump the market, trapping people up higher. Because, some people, once they buy, they just close their computer and walk away. So they'll be trapped up here, and then the market reverses. Then they're stuck at this losing position. There's also a bear trap, which is what this would be right here, where it looks like it's going lower. You sell your stock or you go short, and then they bounce it back higher. So it just means a scary trend that reverses extremely quickly. Hired a project manager for what? Well, I guess I'm handy, so I must be a big renovation if you're hiring a project manager. Well, good luck with that. Yeah, if you're gonna put any home theaters or speakers or anything, B Dubs, hit me up in Slack. That's what I did for 15 years. Pretty much anything low voltage. I did all that for 15 years. Still love it. Still a lot of fun. 50-year-old house. Gotcha. Yeah, make sure you put some wiring throughout the house. That's always annoying when I see remodels. That's crazy. I don't even think that showed on my side, Ellie. I don't have a. Oh, was that the one that I click show on? I just click show. I usually don't even read it, but I thought it was for something else. Yeah, fair enough. That happens. Can't think of everyone's thoughts at the same time. It's not really a possibility. ABC looking pretty good right here, actually. I'm stuck on this chart, and I think it's for a reason. Um, got a nice little triple top action, volume declining, a couple good little volume days here recently, so maybe trying to get up a little bit. Well, I think you should make a course on that then, Ellie. Okay, that's another one. Okay, I like that. Online course about how to take drugs effectively. That's a good one. That'd be a Jim Carrey one. Remember his In Living Color episodes? He did a couple. He did this one fantastic one where he talked about weight loss and it was basically crack. His weight loss drug, his weight loss solution was crack. Yeah, but it sounded like an infomercial, but it was absolute brilliance. Market dumping. Well, Tesla came back down. Market's still hanging around 1.1. Nothing super crazy there. Is RH dumping? Come on, RH. I just want a 60% run. What's wrong with that? I just want you to go straight up. That's all I want. Is that too much to ask? I hope not. I hope it's not too much to ask. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of your money. And it looks like it's, yeah, Space having a good day so far today. Quite a bit of volume. Look at it already on the daily time frame. Very impressive. Yesterday we were at 11.6. We're already at 7.8. And we're 28 minutes into the day. 26 minutes. My clock on my computer is wrong. How the hell does that even happen? All right. How do I change my friggin' clock? Windows is annoying. Still more stable than Ubuntu though. New book from the famous trader Real Stocks. Is this too much to ask? Yeah, right. And if it's my book, Ellie, it's just going to be single word answers. It's going to be yes, no, no, yes. That's going to be the book. So, congratulations. You now know my style of writing. Didn't buy Tesla? I thought you did buy Tesla. Call Microsoft support, tell them you're 60 and need help changing a clock on a computer. Well, you used to be able to. Oh, okay. There you go, Andrew. You used to be able to change it from. I used to click on your clock. Actually, I can probably right click and do something to it. Adjust date time. There we go. So let's see the difference here. Where does it show me? So here it says 657, almost 658. Here it says 659. So that's not good. Sync now. Still synchronize me. So something's wrong. What's my phone say? Maybe the exchange is off. It says 658. Well, that's not going to help. All right, let's see how it goes. Anyway, not much of a help. We're coming up to the resistance point. We got about the $21 line there. See what happens up there. Dude, that'd be cool. You set your time to whatever time you want, just replays life. Just replays everything, just the world. That'd be kind of neat. And you could call that app the Twilight Zone. That'd be pretty amazing. And then you just come back. That'd be an awesome way to trade. You're like, okay, I want to buy Beyond Meat on IPO. Boom. All right, what? Yeah, I want an option for Beyond Meat to go to 300 bucks. That'll be 8 million%, please. You're like, thank you. Now I don't need this tool any longer. Dude, one of my best, I actually did par stereos. That was how I got introduced into audio video into that world. One of the best systems I ever put in was in a boat. It sounded so, even in my echo chamber of an installation bay, and it was an echo chamber. Um, Man, that boat was awesome. I gotta say that I think that guy came back. He's like, dude, this boat sounds on the water. He's like, this boat sounds even better than in the bay. I'm like, I don't doubt it, but yeah, let's go boating. Yeah, I've showed you guys pictures of my car stereo stuff before. I won't bore you with it again, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like making stuff. It's really fun. That's why I said I'm like kind of generally bored with screens. I like programming. That's always kind of fun when I can make stuff happen. But yeah. Yeah, I guess I kind of accomplished what I wanted to accomplish in that world, whatever accomplished means with a job. Domino's Pizza actually worked for the ex-CEO of Domino's Pizza as an installer, now that I think about it. Also, the ex-CEO of Pepsi. What's Pepsi doing? We never look at Pepsi or Coke ever. Okay, there's the reason for that. Coca-Cola. Eee. Apparently, people stopped drinking sugary drinks during Rona. Why the heck is this so cheap? No wonder Warren Buffett's company isn't worth that much anymore. Coke's taking a pretty big dive. Wow. All right, Tesla's undercut its opening bell. You got 1.5 down for the Nasdaq. Not super bueno. 10% for space. We did just see a distribution candle at a resistance level. Surprise, surprise. So there's your reversal. Elevated volume. Pretty big topping wick up there. Not much to do. Not much to do at all, ladies and gentlemen. At all. What do I do with our lovely time we have together today? Apparently it ain't. It's not dealing with buying stocks. You guys have any positions you're looking to exit? Or at least manage? You don't have to. RH back down 0.61. They were up over 2. Take a look at Tesla. All right, let's see if we're finally going to undercut something. Tesla really didn't undercut anything. It still hasn't undercut anything. It barely broke out and came back and just retested the prior buy point. And man, this thing is on another level. Honestly, I can't think of other than really Amazon, Microsoft, Amazon, not even Apple. I don't even really consider Apple that revolutionary. I mean, it was pretty revolutionary, but it's not going to be on a, I don't know, not going to be on a Tesla level. You could argue that touchscreen phones were kind of on their way. They just supercharged it. But Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, those are other level, kind of like, first tier change businesses. Ford, first tier change business back in the day. GE. What if they made a stock simulation where data was entered to account for probability of social effects and probability of business success to guide investors? Not from that perspective. Nasdaq now 1.5 now. Yeah, not really from that perspective, Andrew. They do have simulators that you can go back and kind of, TradingView actually does that just with charts. But I don't think anyone puts that much effort into a simulator of that kind. When you think about how traders trade, everyone's too busy with trying to get rich right now to really actually do homework and make it reasonable. But um, yeah, it's hard to measure that too. Like, how would you measure social effects and profit? Yeah, I mean, I guess because when the iPhone came out, you knew it was here to stay. You knew it was huge. You knew it was big. You knew it was going to be everywhere. Um, Tesla too, but their time frame, their time frame was pretty long. Their iteration cycle in terms of getting it right has been pretty broad. I mean, in all honesty, really what it comes down to with the stock market. Oh, I'm looking at KG. I'm like, why is my weekly chart just flat? It's because I'm looking at KG. When you look at when stocks run, it probably has about 30 to 40% to do with the stock itself, and then the rest to do with the cycle of the market, if that makes sense. So, I mean, it's an interesting situation to try to time some of these things on a longer term perspective because you don't know what the timing. I mean, like Tesla, you could plan that roadmap out. I mean, if you have good information, if you were to sat down there with Elon's team that plans out gigafactories, you could probably get pretty close. Pretty close, but the stock market's reaction to that is a whole different ball game. They could have simulated in 2008 that climate change is worsening, hence increasing the probability of Tesla to be a success in 2020. Census renewable energy. Um, yeah, I mean, you could extrapolate that out today, you know? You could extrapolate that out since today. But see, here's the problem, especially with something like climate change, which has been really difficult to measure and effectively predict. There's not a great prediction model for climate change that works. So it's really hard to actually do that. 97 a good level for LVGO. Well, let's see. So it's up here at 102. 97 currently would be at about the 10-day moving average at 96.4. Um, I would, yeah, I would say a 10 or 20-day moving average pullback recently has been its kind of its maximum it's willing to pull back. There's a trend line way down here. I mean, yeah, I mean it's really anywhere between this trend line and the 10-day moving average it could bottom at. So it's difficult to say what's a great number. The more important thing, James, is is the Nasdaq going to go into a larger correction? If that's going to go into a larger correction, then LVGO um, may just go with the market. It's really hard to tell with the market getting pretty distributive here. Although that being said, we may not get a distribution day depending on how our volume panned out between yesterday and today. Another thing, James, when you're asking a question like that, is what's your you're looking for a good entry point. What's your exit point? You've got to have some kind of if you're going to have an entry thesis, you've got to have an exit thesis. You got to know what you're buying, why you're buying, how long you're going to hold it for. Um, is it even a good trade to begin with? I mean, LVGO has been a stellar name since the coronavirus. Since then, it was kind of just a normal whatever stock. Since then, it's been pretty good. So which is why it's been holding the shorter term moving averages, your 10 and your 20-day. Came back down, came a spike to give us a trend line. Is that even a real thing? Is that even a real trend line? That's not even a real trend line. Stupid. That's not even a trend line. Oh, come on. Okay, so that's your trend line actually. So, I mean, you have quite a bit of ways to go before you find some type of a support. I mean, 97, it seems it's in the middle of this chop. So, what I mean by that is that you have a price action, you've got a price box. Your lower part is at 90, your upper part is at 115. So that's what, a 25, so 12 and a half. So that would put you at 102 and a half would be your median for that. And 97 isn't really close to the bottom. I mean, I would much rather try to get in if it's gonna chop this range. I'd much rather get in at 90, which may be your 20-day moving average in 3 or 4 days, if that's going to be a thing. Um, but yeah, I don't like that in the middle of a range. I'd rather try to buy it on undercut rally or something like that, James. But more importantly is what's the Nasdaq going to do? What's the market cycle going to be like? Are we going to put in a lot of distribution days, which is going to put the uptrend in danger? Or even well, more like the S&P. I think the S&P is at 5 distribution days right now. So if it puts in 3 more distribution days, we're going to be in a correction here pretty quick. So at that point, you're stepping away from everything because more than likely you're stepping away from everything. Andrew would be a huge project. I know it's unrealistic, but the world work together, they could make some sort of allocative investing system, which stocks with higher potential were auto invested. They do have, I mean, there's some small companies that do like green investing and stuff like that, but At the end of the day, investing, in my opinion, see, people want to invest and be virtuous. Like I want to invest in green companies, that's going to be good to a point. But if they lose money, those same people are going to lose their minds. It has nothing to do with the green. It has, I think they're conflicting want for a return and wanting to feel righteous. You know, you sometimes it's hard to have both. You're trying to thread a needle from that perspective, and I think Tesla gives you a great way to do that actually, because they're a pretty damn green company. Like they got sustainability things they put out. I mean, they're pretty green, but outside of Tesla, I think it's really difficult to, because think about it, you've got to find a company that is actually in a growing market that the investors like, that's actually doing good for the planet in some way, and that's public. A lot of those companies aren't even public. That's the thing. They're just sitting there. Private businesses doing whatever they're doing, which is a good thing. I mean, like the Gates Foundation, they do a lot of efforts, um, but those things aren't public. All right, S&P 500. And of course, I can't see their volume very good anyway. So there we go. So distribution day, distribution day, distribution day, distribution day. Not a oh, that wouldn't be distribution day anyways. That would be so once again since we're only at 4 distribution days with one on the Nasdaq. I don't get that. I think we're higher than that based on what I just saw. Hmm. All right, so 1.5 for the Nasdaq, Tesla down. Lavago, we're looking here. It's basing after a nice beautiful run up from 30 to 115, which is an excellent run. There's a new hot dog of the day, Myrna and space. So yeah, but going back to the green investing thing, you know what? There's lots of companies that they do try to do that. I won't say they don't, but they don't have a tool that you can use. They use it for themselves. These are larger institutions, mutual funds, um, a lot of companies that do research on, okay, what was showing up when, what were the trends, who were the players, what was the actual trajectory, and then how do we capitalize that going forward? Let's look at what the market did with the prior trends. Let's see what the market may do with the current trends and the next trends. That they do that all the time. I guarantee you there's dozens of different types of funds that have analysts doing that research. Do I believe the potential for Tesla to be added to the S&P 500 is priced into the... Oh yeah, well everything's added to the current stock price of Tesla. I mean, there's zero reason if and here's the funny thing, I sometimes hear people, say certain things and they just have no idea what they're talking about. Like in reality, there's no reason, there's no new news for Tesla between 350 and 1800. There's really been no new news. You knew about Battery Investor Day before March. You knew about S&P possibilities, but this isn't all an S&P run. But yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, at this stage of the game, everything's priced in. I don't think so. No, it's a what's called a buy the rumor, sell the news event. So this is what happens. What happens is there's a rumor on Wall Street circulated among the investor class and the trading people to say, oh, you know what? Hey, there's a possibility for Tesla to be added to the S&P 500 if their earnings are good. Like, say you're not tracking Tesla and didn't know anything about that. People are going to start putting out those articles, and you're going to be reading them because you're part of this every day. And then what happens is months go by, people start, oh yeah, you know what, Tesla could get added. Let's go take a look at that. Blah 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 blah. They do their analysis. They're like, okay, yeah, let's we like to invest in S&P funds. Let's maybe front run this a little bit. It looks like a all but certainty in the next 6 months they'll be added. So let's just go ahead and buy Tesla because we like S&P companies. So they go and they buy Tesla. And there's other people that go, oh yeah, that's pretty good. We may get a nice move into that. And then so they buy Tesla on a speculative basis. And then what happens is Tesla gets added to the S&P 500. And then, mom and pop that have been loosely watching Tesla but don't really invest, yet they still have some type of an investing account. They see the headline, they go and they buy Tesla, and the shares they're buying are from the people that bought 20-30% ago. It's called buy the rumor, sell the news. And it happens all the time, like every day. So if there's a big news event coming, like it was kind of funny with Apple. They used to sell off on their worldwide developers conferences, on their product launch days and stuff like that. Because think about it, Apple being kind of a company with a lot of fanboys and fangirls, you've got investors that hear about all these inklings and take action early, but then you have individual people that go, oh, there's an event coming up, and they don't pay attention until the event. So then the event happens and everyone starts dumping stock into that public demand for the stock. They're like, oh, iPhone 8's coming out. Oh, I can order it tomorrow? Oh, that's great. There's going to be a big surge in orders. Let's go ahead and buy Apple. And they buy Apple, but everyone else has been buying Apple for the past 6 months. And so they sell into that. It's called, it's kind of like what's called liquidity hunting. So it's called buy the rumor, sell the news. And, the smart people don't wait for it to be a certainty before they buy. The smart people buy early. So, I mean, look, you may see a short-term impact, but I think, bigger picture, it's a good thing for Tesla. It's a good thing, but I mean, they're already on the NASDAQ. The S&P 500 is just is what it is. They may get a small bump, but it's gonna be small. All right, 1.25 for the NASDAQ. Well, yeah, I don't like the term priced in. I mean, I may use it from time to time, but yeah, so what, I mean, they'll run up the stock ahead of the event, whatever it is, and then they'll sell it once the event's happening because they know there's going to be demand for the stock. Yep, exactly. And that's what they mean by priced in. It's kind of like sell the news type of a thing, you know. And I mean, these things are generally known for, quite a long time. I mean, after the iPhone 7 that the iPhone 8's coming out, right? That was never under question. Ever under question. Like with Tesla battery investor day, we'll probably get a nice pop on battery investor day, but they've been talking about it for 9 months because it's been pushed back for 9 months. So, usually they jump on early. They jump on really early. So the people that were thinking Tesla being added to the S&P, I don't think that was really necessary. I mean, and people make a big deal of it, but Tesla's already a $250 billion company. Is it really that big of a deal? Really? I don't think so. It's not. I I can't think of a time. Well, you know what? Google got big once they got on the S&P 500. That's when people started taking them seriously. you know, it doesn't work that way. It's just another another accolade for an already booming business. And it's funny when you think about all the companies that are on the S&P 500. I can't remember the last time someone actually talked about them moving to the S&P 500. Well, you actually don't move. Nothing moves. You just get added to the list. But I can't think of the last time I saw a company that got added to the S&P 500. Like I've seen a couple of news announcements about this company, but I can't remember them. They're not members. It's just hype. It's just hype. They're just excited because it'll increase the price of the stock since the world's richest investors invest in the index. Well, so there's a misnomer. The S&P 500 is not an index in and of itself, but there are funds that invest in the companies that in the S&P 500. But I mean, they're already there. See, that's the thing. It's already there. So no, it's not going to be an event. You're not going to get like I said, it's not a surprise. They're going to get there eventually. It doesn't matter if it's this quarter, next quarter, or next year. I don't really care if they run a deficit for the next year because they're growing rapidly and the stock tanks. I would love to buy more, in this particular company. So if that happens and they don't get added to the S&P, I mean, no one's selling shares because they didn't get added to the S&P. No one's buying. Very few people will buy shares because they get added to the S&P. More people are going to try to buy the rumor and sell the news, would be my opinion on that. So, pretty boring day today. Yeah, really, this is how the market works, Andrew. This is the only way the market works. Well, actually, now there's two scenarios. The market works like this. There's a company, doesn't matter what company, doesn't matter how fast they're growing, doesn't matter what they do, doesn't matter anything, okay? And they're going about their business. You got like two, let's just take two companies, Company A and Company B. All right. Company A and Company B, they do different things, but they're growing at the same rate. All right, on paper. They're growing at the same rate. Their sales, they have the same sales rate. And it doesn't matter what they do. It just literally doesn't matter what they do. But the same growth rate, same sales rate. And then there's the institutions. The institutions are the ones responsible for the success and failure of stocks in the market. No one else. Not the president, not you and me, not even the company itself. It's the institutions that run the markets. The big hedge funds, big pension funds, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and their trading desks. All kinds of funds. There's more funds than there are stocks. There's about, I think, 3,000 or 5,000 stocks. There's more funds than there are stocks. And that's the population of institutions that will move a stock. And you and I can't move a stock. No one can move a stock except for institutions. So Company A and Company B, same growth rate, same sales rate, depending on whatever circumstances matter to that group of investors in that time, one will move greater than the other. Okay? It's just kind of the way that it is. One will move greater than the other. And it only boils down to, it doesn't boil down to, I mean, look, there's a few things that can lead to a small bump here and there. Maybe the S&P listing for a smaller company, other than the 20th largest business in the stock market right now, which is what Tesla is, maybe it would move them a little bit. But, the investors already know that. They're already researching that. They're already doing their work. And, we try to identify that early, the institutional accumulation via technical analysis and chart patterns. There's really not a lot of other ways to do it. You can look at annual reports, and IBD does a good job of that, actually, of telling you if there's institutional support, how many quarters of accumulation. It is a lagging indicator because they only report once a quarter, or maybe it's once a month. But anyway, it's not near real-time data. The only real-time data you get is the charts. That's the only real-time data you get. And then there's some news, but you don't necessarily know how the institutions are taking that. There's like really good earnings reports that come out and stocks dump because institutions don't like what they're seeing. And there's really bad earnings report and stocks jump. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to half of it. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters, and I mean that, the only thing that matters if you're looking for a price appreciation in a stock, which is what we're all doing here, is what the institutions think about the stock. That's it. And we don't have privy to that information. All we have access to is the same information they do and actually less information than they do. And then the stock chart, which is a big advantage, which is our big advantage as, just normal people. We can't comb through all the research that the institutions do on 50, 60, 70 different businesses. We just can't. They'll have like one person doing one sector, or something like that, or a team doing a sector and people assigned to individuals to dive deeper. They'll have some of those institutions have teams of hundreds of people, so you can't do that research. I can't do that research. So it really just comes down to, hey, are we buying or are we selling? Like, what's the buying? We talk about demand, supply, pressure. That all comes into, are they pushing it up or are they pulling it down? And that's all it is. Yeah, institute they do play God. Again, it's not just one of them. There's thousands of institutions. So it's not like if you, let's say, a guy that works for an institution and he happens to be buying Tesla, doesn't mean the other ones are buying Tesla. Doesn't mean that. But technical analysis gives us a fantastic way to try to ascertain that buying and selling pressure. And that's essentially what it is. That's all. And the market just runs on that buying and selling pressure. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's a second thing coming into play, and that's the Fed, because the Fed is now starting to buy, I think they're starting to buy individual assets, which, again, you can see it in the chart, but I don't know if there's a rationale behind their buying. That's a brand new development, like this year. I don't think that even happened last year. That's brand new this year. So, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, so I mean, really, you just have to forget everything and learn how to read charts and learn how to. If you can find like a good place that tracks institutional sponsorship, and I'm sure there's some small sites out there that do that. In fact, I think I've seen one. I mean, IBD does that. Investors Business Daily, they investors.com, they do that. It's part of their system, which it makes perfect sense when you think about it. It's the most logical thing in the world to me that all these funds with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars move the markets, and I really have nothing to do with it. It's like, because when you think about Tesla, right? Think about Tesla. Tesla is busy running their business. Elon Musk, I mean, I don't know how often you've used the stock price, probably more when it's running or dropping, but probably not very often. Elon Musk as a CEO is worried about his business. There's some CEOs that are really worried about the stock price, and they do everything they can to keep it high, right? They'll do buybacks and things of that nature. That can increase the value. There's stuff that they can do, but they can't directly manipulate the price of their stock. Number one, it's illegal and should be. And number two, that's not what they do. They just do their business. They do their job. They're paid to do their job. We're paid to invest in the markets effectively. And the institutions are the ones that do that job. So it only the U.S. that started to use monetary policy to affect the stock market. No, I think other countries are kind of starting to do the same thing, as a lot of markets are starting to flounder. I read an article that like the Belgium or the Netherlands or some central bank was given the okay to buy assets. I think that some, globally, some are starting to do that, which is a bit concerning to me. But I don't know how to deal with that. Honestly, I don't. Again, the only thing, like, our biggest tool is the charts. And there's guys that for the past 100 plus years, 120 plus years now, that have, general knowledge about businesses and this and that, but have pretty much relied on the charts. Absolutely relied on the charts. And it's the biggest and most valuable, other than insider information, it's the biggest and most valuable thing that we have that is underutilized by a majority of everyone. Very few people, I think, actually trade charts, and even fewer than that trade them effectively. Yeah, pretty much, Andrew. They're doing it. Yeah, they don't want the markets to tank, but what they're doing is creating another bubble. Um, Probably bigger, probably the biggest bubble we've ever seen. If it, when it comes down to it, it's going to be the biggest bubble, and the taxpayers are going to be left holding the bag, which is going to be a shame, because it's going to just ruin the world economy once it comes down. I don't know how long it's going to last. Could last another 30 years. You know what I mean? Maybe the NASDAQ never has another correction. I mean, that's a bit hyperbole, but, you know, maybe it never is allowed to fully correct and have another 2007, 2008, you know. But some of those, I mean, I hate to say it, you know, some of those can be healthy for the markets. It's like like in Arizona, we have lots of wildfires, right? When you get a lot of rain in a desert, you grow a lot of grass, you grow a lot of bushes, and then, you know, the other day it was 116 here. Well, all that water is evaporated. You get one spark, and we've had almost, I think, 3/4 of a million acres burned, or a million acres burned. We've had a lot of burn this year, and it's essentially due to the fact that you know, there was so much green. Hold on a second, I'm getting a phone call. Hello? Yeah, they're trying to sell me something. But yeah, when you talk about financial markets, I mean, things get overinflated. You know, you look at 2008, you had a lot of big banks go out of businesses because they were just doing stupid stuff. And they should go out of business. I mean, absolutely. We kind of have we think we have a free market, but it's getting less free by the day, unfortunately. I kind of wish they would let it drop due to COVID. Because then you'll have real values for asset prices. You know, and yeah, it sucks to feel that, but you know, a shot sucks to get too. Forest fire seems like a horrible thing until you realize that how else do you decompose organic matter quicker than in a forest fire? You know, seeds have evolved to actually, pine cones will actually wait for forest fires to open up and release their seeds. You know what I mean? In the same way, you got smart people that are kind of hoarding cash, waiting for bargains, like Warren Buffett, and then they don't come along when they should. So it's like, now we just have all this cash and the market's still going up. Is that a good thing? I don't know. You can argue that over time it's not. Over time it's an unhealthy imbalance. It's kind of like back in the day when they didn't want any forest fires and they wouldn't clear the forest, and they would have monster forest fires. So, yeah, I mean, no one knows how it's going to play out. I mean, maybe there's going to be some economic genius that comes along, which I doubt, and will say, hey, here's the way out of this problem that doesn't tank society. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. So, anyway, that's what's called a Randy rant, by the way, for those of you uninitiated. Let's go off on a tangent for 10 minutes on something. NAO with a nice little pullback. If the Fed didn't get involved, all those publicly listed businesses wouldn't have much incentive to invest since they raise capital from shares has dropped, further reducing demand. So I guess it's a good thing. So maybe there's a slight misunderstanding, Andrew. You talk about, okay, so when a business goes public, you know, we can use any business. Do we have one up on FinViz? Probably Tesla right now. Yeah, there's Tesla right now. I mean, so when a business goes public, you know, when they file for their business, they tell how many shares are outstanding. 183 million shares. They only issued publicly 147 million shares. Okay, but when they did that at like $17 a share, they received that money, and it's a one-to-one transaction. Okay, they don't like. So they got $2.5 billion on their IPO day. That's it. It's like you selling your house, right? You sold your house, except they can keep like one of the bedrooms. So they kept one. They kept one of the bedrooms, sold the rest of the house, got $2.5 billion. They get to do operations, grow, and stuff, whatever they need to do with that capital. So it doesn't matter if it goes down. Like, you know, they IPO to 17, say it tanks right to 5. They still have $2.5 billion. That doesn't necessarily affect their wanting to do anything with their business or their investing capability. Now, the general market environment would impact that more. Now, keep in mind, Tesla also still has about, you know, just under 40 million shares, right? So, I mean, they've got a war chest, 40 times, what is it, 1482? So they got $59 billion savings account. If they wanted to, they could sell those on the open market, right? They're just an asset for Tesla. They're nothing other than that. They could sell all of those if they wanted to. Absolutely every single one of them to the market and then have nothing left to sell. I mean, they could do that. But so they essentially have the savings account. So if the market's tanking, then their savings account is worth less, which means probably depending on their debt level, because you're in business classes. So think about it from a business perspective. They got, yeah, it wouldn't change anything. But if they did, if they did want to fund operations going forward, let's say they're out of cash. Let's say they have no cash, and they fund stuff through debt. Let's say they take out loans every year, because I guarantee you a lot of businesses do that. They take out loans based on the assets of the business, based on the value of the business. And let's say the assets equal $1 billion, and the value of the business itself, like if they have no float, then they really don't have anything to bargain with. But by float, I mean the difference here between shares outstanding. So Tesla's a $40 million float, essentially, which is what this, or 40 million share float. If a business doesn't have those assets, then it's really hard to bargain against. But let's say they did have some assets, and let's say Tesla gets chopped in half, and they go from a 60 billion war chest to a 30 billion savings account, 60 billion savings account to a 30 billion savings account. Maybe they have a hard time borrowing against those assets. So when Tesla's stock price started shooting up, it was almost a guarantee, because it cost them about $1 billion to $2 billion to make a gigafactory. And so based on just their war chest, they could build at least 30 gigafactories without raising any debt. They could sell some Tesla shares and build some gigafactories. And they don't have to borrow any money. Where's their debt? There it is. So there's their debt to equity, 1.17, whatever the hell that means. That would mean they have $258 billion in debt? That doesn't sound right. I know Tesla does have some debt, but anyway, so it becomes harder to service the debt. It becomes harder to manage the debt if your share price is worth less. But to use your example, if the Fed, yeah, pedifactories, right? If the Fed didn't step in, then yeah, I mean, you know what? I mean, I don't know if United Airlines would be bankrupt, but see, the Fed, I mean, but if the Fed inflates the stock price of United Airlines, because you can argue they're still hurting, right? They're obviously still hurting. If the Fed buys UAL shares, it doesn't necessarily do anything in reality. Because if the business is failing, if they've got a fleet of 300 jets sitting on the ground, how is buying their stock going to help get those jets in the air producing revenue? It's not. Now, if you look at this, they've already caved from 90 to 30. They've been cut down by over 66%. So their ability to borrow has been encumbered, but they're only going to be able to go to the debt market so many times before eventually the big banks are going to go, dude, you're like 500 times upside down in like debt to whatever ratios. We're just unable to lend you any more money because you're just a sinking ship at this point. And that has nothing to do with whether the Fed buys the stock or not. The Fed isn't looking at, from my knowledge, they're not looking at individual cases. I mean, they're not bailing out United Airlines. If the Fed were to give United Airlines $100 billion, that would make a difference. But if they buy $100 billion of UAL stock, UAL doesn't benefit from that. Unless United Airlines, see, here's a good example. Their shares outstanding is 290.45, and so, but their float is 289.24. So they only have like 1.2 million shares of their own business. So, I mean, they don't have much of a savings account. We just use that analogy. So like 1.2 times 34. They only have $40 million of savings, which is nothing. Absolutely nothing. They have no savings account. It's like you having $50 in your account. You're like, what the fuck am I going to do with this $50? I mean, yeah, it's $50 is good, but my mortgage is $1,000. My car payment's $600. My food, that won't last me food for a week. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all what the Fed does for the individual businesses. It really doesn't. So Yeah, it's just one of those things. But I mean, you could have a if the Fed wanted to take NIO here, not that they would do this, but let's say the Fed just kept buying NIO into oblivion, made it $1,000 stock, and NIO went bankrupt. Then you have a bankrupt $1,000 stock. You know, they could still go bankrupt. There's essentially a firewall between the business and the stock. Yeah. There's a firewall between the business and the stock. And see, here's what they teach you. Here's at least what I think they teach you in school, because I've never been to a college economics class. I've never done anything in college with this type of stuff. I think they teach you that fundamental values based off of earnings and blah 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 and this and that and the other thing. But then show your teacher Amazon and say, explain this then. Explain how Amazon was running, 128 PE ratios for 10 years. Explain that, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be it's he could likely explain it, but it wouldn't be on the curriculum. They're, from my understanding, they don't actually teach that. They may teach growth rate and how it relates to earnings and how it relates to revenue and all this stuff, but you know, in theory, the market should be a mirror image of the business, right? In theory, if you got Apple growing at 35%, your stock price should grow at 35%, right? Like why would you pay more for a stock that's growing at 35%? Why would you pay 70% for a stock growing 35%? But they do that all the time. It's constant. Happens every day. Tesla's a good example of that. Like their growth rate's good, but their stock price, again, 350 to 1800, there's been no change. There's been no change in Tesla's what they've been doing, saying, acting, zero, you know? So again, what does an institution think about a stock? That's all you're looking at. That's really it. Yeah, doesn't matter what the economy's doing, doesn't matter what who the CEO's screwing, um, how they're embezzling money, you know? Yeah, there's been lots of C-level executives embezzling money and the stock price rises. No one catches it. So, obviously it's not reflective. It's not a mirror image. It's all sentiment, but it's usually the sentiment of investors. Now, retail investors can pump things from time to time, but I think some of the smaller hedge funds and institutions get the same FOMO that people do. you know, like Tilray's a good example, right? Tilray IPO'd and just went bonkers. Goes from 18 to 300. There's no rational reason for that. I think if you get enough people, you could cause a nice run for a short period of time, but it's not going to sustain. So, yeah, as you go through college, Andrew, I mean, keep that in mind. Is if you ever hear them talking about stock price, I mean, get a good get good grades on your tests, obviously, but I mean, if you have a professor that talks about and the stock price and the value and the PE ratio of the revenue with the respected earnings, ask him about Amazon. Ask him, maybe do a little research paper on Amazon and how, do a research paper on market inefficiencies, in relation to high growth stocks or something like that. You know what I mean? Because they don't teach those things, not to my knowledge. I hope they do. Maybe one day they will. But hi, James. You got double lammy? What's up with double lammy? Come here. James is here, everyone. Are you just wake up? No, you've been awake? What happened? Did Ethan
He just keeps staying close to me.
he keeps staying too close to you? Does he have a big smile on his face the entire time? So he's joking? He's playing a joke? No.
He's like actually doing it.
Well, yeah, I know he's actually doing it. What were you doing? Were you doing anything?
The blanket
Okay.
saying that.
Okay. Well, hey, when someone's doing that, you what you can do If it's bugging you, you can let it not bug you, and you can do it back to them, and then they'll back away. Did you know that? Yeah. So instead of getting, you just laughed, then laugh with him. You can do that. You can laugh with him, right? So he comes close to you and goes, oh, do 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 do. Then you move closer to him and you get an even bigger laugh. You go hee 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 hee, and you do it right back to him. Okay. All right. Go have fun. Huh? Mom, what? Okay, well, do it quiet. Yeah, right, Andrew. Sorry, I already left the room. Otherwise, I'd say I'd let him know you said hi. Man, my kid walks in the room. Everyone leaves the stream. Everyone's gone now. So, yeah, there you go. Yep, real parenting. Yeah, yeah. Try to give them tools to work with instead of just Sometimes you got to go in there and yell and tell them to stop, but other times you can make it a teaching moment. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna get out of here. Mentioned early on, there's nothing to do today. We've had a lot of Randy rants, and hopefully, hopefully some people learned something today. I mean, if you guys think that I'm incorrect in terms of how the market works, I would love to hear alternative opinions, and we can debate the merits of such things. And I mean, look, I don't by any way, shape, or form think I know everything, but um, my experience in the market, that's all I can contend with is that institutions drive the market, and we're just along for the ride. So yeah, cool guys. I'm gonna bounce. You guys have a good day. Stay safe out there. Hopefully the market doesn't. Hopefully we can turn this thing around. I mean, we're still in good levels. I mean, on the Nasdaq, we're still above our middle Bollinger Band line. We're still in our channel, so nothing's dead yet. So I don't want to give up too much hope. At the same time, we want to give this thing a full chance to destroy itself and or make itself whole. And space, man, has the volume today for a great move. It's already up 12%. Something happening here? Name's the CEO. Oh. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Michael Colglazier becomes Chief Space Officer. Oh, see, they're gonna do that. Screw you. You know what? I don't like that at all. What the fuck does a Walt Disney douchebag know about space? Chief Space Officer. Psh, stupid. Well, there goes this being a great business. Well, see, they do this all the time, Andrew. They do this all the time. So you're in business school, right? All right, I'm gonna make you feel bad about yourself. Business, not all business people, but you look at a company, and this is really becoming clear with Tesla. Business people make money. Engineers make stuff, right? Now, business people employ engineers, and I don't know this guy, but maybe this guy's good. But coming from Disney, that's not like I don't think he's got an engineering background. Like, in theory, you could take any CEO and put it in any business in the world, and they should, quote unquote, should be generally successful, right? Just due to general knowledge and how to run books and how to balance stuff and profit and loss and blah blah blah. But I don't know. If you're trying to go to space, I don't want some douchebag from Walt Disney as my CEO. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, maybe the dude's got a background in physics. I mean, I think one of the only reason SpaceX is successful is because of Elon Musk, because they have a leader that just wants to build shit right. This guy's going to cut some corners. At least that's how I feel just off the top of my head. Responsible for operations strategies and development of Disney's international parks and resorts. So I guess he did manage some teams that built some stuff, but so not at least he wasn't creative director for Aladdin movies or something like that. So I don't know, maybe the guy's bringing some to the table, but I kind of like the fact that the CEO, he was a space guy. I like that fact. Maybe he was struggling. Maybe I'm jumping to the gun here a little bit. Maybe he was struggling. So maybe it's good for space. Maybe it's good for space. I don't know. Maybe he has some network, not some network, and can bring stuff to the table. But it's the only one moving today, so that's a good thing. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Have a good day. I will see you on Friday, and again next week. Probably no streams except for maybe Friday. I don't know yet. I'll let you guys know. All right, everyone.